Hi, and welcome to this class on the energetics of sovereignty. So this is all about being in that powerful energy where you're in your own energy field and you become powerful because you are being in your own potential and your own power and your own energy and not being held back by the matrix. The matrix consists of all of our conditioning, all of our fears and worries that make us try to fit in, try to avoid criticism, seek approval, and it actually avoids us showing up in the fullest version of ourselves. So if you have great potentials, which we all do, you can never fully bring them into being, never show them, where you're too scared of the judgment of others. And you can feel if this is going on for you, if you have that sense of, I've got more to give, I've got a bigger calling here, I'm capable of more than and I don't really know what it is, but I know it's something because I can feel it. And where I am right now feels quite frustrating because I know I'm not able to show up fully, not able to express myself freely. And I don't really know why. I don't really know what this invisible barrier is that keeps me from doing that. And the answer to that is it's these dynamics and relationships and fears that are in our subconscious that actually affect our state of being, how we feel about ourselves, which is actually what is one of the things that creates our energetic field. And our energetic field is basically how we interact with the rest of the physical reality. It's how we're vibrating. So if you really want to change your life, and you have to change the way you're vibrating, your being, your thoughts and your beliefs and your emotions. Otherwise, you're just tinkering around with the surface area. And if you want to make something happen, it's not in, and it's like you haven't fixed whatever is in your energetic field that is stopping that thing happening. It's like walking upstream against a powerful river, because basically your energetic field is allowing you to call in a certain thing, whether that's the thing that you want, whether you're calling in lots of money or whether you're calling in a lack of money. It's in your state of being and your sense of what you deserve, what you're entitled to, what you're open to receive, how safe you feel to receive. It's all of that that's going on in your field. But so if you try and then make money without dealing with a vibration which is closed off to money, it's going to feel very, very hard, because you're just pushing against what the energy of your vibration is. So that's why, if you really want to powerfully change your life and change how things are showing up for you, you've got to get back to the energetic level. And that's where coming and working on your sense of inner power is so important, because you get to the absolute very root of what keeps you stuck. And if you get rid of the things that keep you stuck, then the whole new level of power gets released to you, so that you can show up in your fullest power and your most magnetic energy. And you can only then really begin to understand what your true potential is, because then you can feel it, you can sense it, you get excited to do the things that are in your potential. You get the ideas, you get the imagination, you get the confidence, you get the energy to do it. So that's why this is really powerful. So having said that, I want to start off with an energetic experience of this in the form of a visualization, so that you can really feel this, because we're talking about energy. So we're talking about how you feel. inside of your body, what your inner world feels like. So that's why we're going to do visualization. So if you need to stop the video to get yourself in a comfortable, quiet space for this, then do that. But that's what we need to do. Just get yourself somewhere where you can be relaxed and comfortable for a minute, so you can close your eyes and go into this visualization. Okay, so I want to invite you to get comfortable in your chair, put your feet on the floor, and take a big deep breath. And then I want to invite you to notice your feet on the floor and how it feels. So you're keying into the sensations in your body. And now I invite you to close your eyes and then connect it. So connect to the feeling of your feet, allowing energy in from the bottom of your feet. So take a deep breath and breathe right down into your feet. And as you breathe out, imagine roots going down from the bottom of your feet, down into the floor, right down through the floorboards, down into the foundations of the building you're in, right down into the ground and into the earth. And just keep that picture. You can imagine the roots looking like tree roots or colorful roots or just like colorful ropes or anything that feels good to you. Just imagine them going right down into the earth. And at the same time, I want you to take another deep breath. And this time, imagine that the top of your head can just open and light can pour down from above right into the top of your head, and light pours down and down and down. It goes down into your head and through your face, down into your cheeks and down into your neck, and then pours down through your chest into your heart. And then just imagine that energy coming down through your head, through your face, down into your heart, and then swirling around in your heart. At the same time, there's energy coming up from the center of the earth, through your feet, up through your legs, and meeting at your heart. And both energies are just swirling in there. And then actually even helps if you were to bring your hands now in front of your chest and into the prayer position. So, because that just increases that feeling of being connected above and below and aligned in the middle in your heart. So there's this like almost central column from above and below of energy flowing through your body. Just allow that to keep going for a moment. Allow it to feel powerful. Okay. And just letting that go. Okay, so now I want you to imagine around and about your body. Keep your eyes closed. Imagine the people that are important in your life, including people who you love and people who are also difficult, whether that's parents, friends, children, colleagues, bosses, anybody who is important in your life. I'm imagining my dad and my mom, my sisters, my children, some of the women I work with. They're all just coming around me now. And I just want you to think about how you feel about each of those people. And I particularly want you to think about which person at the moment you have the most conflict with. And in your mind's eye, see that person in front of you. And just tune into their Tune into them, into their perspective of the world, as if you could like move into their body and see how it feels. And then come back into your body. And I just invite you to notice that it feels like you're somehow connected by something invisible. So I would like you to let that, whatever connection it is, appear in however it wants to appear. It might appear as a cord, as a rope, as a string, as a thread, as a tendril of ivy wrapping around them and wrapping around you. But there is just a connection of something physical between you. And I want you to notice how when you feel that you say something to that person that they don't like, there's a sort of uncomfortable feeling in your body, maybe in your stomach, however that shows up for you. And that is the cord of energy between you both. It's a very, very subtle thing, but it affects you very, very much in terms of being in your own power. So now I just want you to imagine again the energy coming through your head and up through your feet. So pull that energy down from above you into your head and into your heart and up through the earth into your feet. And allow that to let you feel safe in your body. And now come back to the cord between you and this other person that you thought of. And this time, I just invite you to imagine that cord being cut or severed, or to just to fall away. Not because you're going to send that person out of your life, but instead of relating to them in this way with that cord, just invite you to see them in their own energy field and you in your own energy field, and that you can be alongside each other without being connected by that cord. So now you are changing the way you are relating. We're so used to relating in that way where we're plugged into someone else's energy field. But actually, you can still have that person in your life without plugging into their energy field. And that energy field is created by you both worrying what the other person thinks of you or worrying about their opinion of you. So that's how that kind of like sucking energy, the uncomfortable energy is created. So when you let that go, you're just in the energy of power. So I hope you're now feeling, even if it's very subtle, the difference between being in your own energy field and plugging into the energy field of other people. Because from an energetic perspective, that's what's going on here. So we just wanted to show you about how the energy works in this before we actually talk about, well, what does this actually mean in everyday life in the physical and from a very practical sense? Because none of this matters unless you're actually going to make it real in the physical, and you actually have to do that. And I want to talk to you about that now. So how do you work out, well, not even work out this, because this is a felt thing. How do you let go of the opinions of others and what other people think, even when all of this stuff is very subconscious and very underneath the surface, so you might not see it? So, and my answer to that is you use your triggers. So we normally see our triggers. What I mean by triggers is those moments where you get hurt, you feel angry, you feel hurt, you feel upset, or you feel annoyed, you feel frustrated with other people. Those are the triggers. They're creating an emotional charge in you. So we always think of these as something really negative, but in fact, these are brilliant because these show us exactly where we're hooking into the matrix. We're giving our power away, and it's really important not to shame ourselves for that, because if you shame them and say, oh, I shouldn't have these triggers, I shouldn't feel like this, that's just suppressing them, which absolutely ensures that they're just going to stay firmly in place. It's when you get curious about them and say, oh, okay, I'm now interested that I have these triggers, because I can use them as a way to get free and to get my power back. So what do we do once we've felt that? So I just want you to think of a situation maybe recently where somebody has either upset or annoyed you. It might have been today, it might have been in the last week, but they just upset or annoyed you or made you angry, and you use that for yourself. Maybe you want to write it down now. Take a moment to write down what that thing was, because you can use that to help yourself go through the process I'm going to take you through now. So I'm going to talk you through probably what, like this process for using, probably what is, I'd say, the biggest trigger that I ever had. And, you know, that is dealing with my divorce, because it, you know, and it's not surprising that that's the biggest trigger I've ever had, because it's these close relationships that feel like somehow our life depends on them. These relationships, the more you feel that your life and your happiness depends on a relationship, the more there's going to be big triggers in there, the more they're going to show up for you where you're hooking in and losing your power. That's why they say relationships are like, you know, they're like mirrors. They, you know, if you use your triggers in relationships, they're the biggest, like the most amazing vehicle for expansion if you use them in that way. So the situation that came for me recently was receiving a letter on the divorce where it said in the letter that my ex wasn't going to agree to what I think is a fair settlement, because I should have got a higher paying, more demanding job because I had the qualifications for it. So therefore, he shouldn't have to give me what I'm asking for. And immediately when I read that, I felt just a huge pang of anger. And so I know that I'm hooked in there. That's my hook. I'm like, okay, there's a hooking in. What can I do about this? I'm like, okay, the first step one is to do the opposite from what you would normally do in the world, which is I'm going to feel my anger. I'm not going to express it or react to my anger. I'm not going to phone him up and go, you know, just give a whole lot of expletives down the phone. I'm going to create a moment of space for me just to feel what I feel. So, and it's actually putting your attention in your body where the feeling of anger is, which isn't fun, to be honest, because the anger doesn't feel good. But it is absolutely totally worth it because it's your liberation. So when I feel that anger, I can see that if that's when the truth emerges as to what I'm really upset about. So I might be like, how could he not have valued or seen? He's just totally denying the contribution I made in the marriage. So this is somewhere where you can get stuck, because can you see how I've immediately gone to, he did that. He's the one at fault. He did that. And that's valid, but at the same time, it's not going to get me anywhere to blame, and I can get really stuck if I just stay with the blame. So I have to realize that I have no power over how he behaves other than force. And energetically, that's going against the flow. That doesn't work. This is about me realigning my energy field and getting my power back from him being able to upset me, or his response being able to upset me, because then I'm not in control. I've given my power away. So if I'm feeling, okay, he's totally denying the contribution I made, what's below that? Below that is there's a sadness that I wasn't valued, I wasn't acknowledged, I wasn't appreciated. Okay, so here we have it. Here we have the sadness in me. Here I've got to the bottom of the wound in me, not valued, not acknowledged, not appreciated. Okay, and I appreciate this isn't a great feeling in your body, but again, it's the liberation. So it's breathing into that space in your body where you feel it and going, this feeling is welcome in my body. So if you're following along with this process, if you've identified your anger, it's just a matter of being with it long enough to see what you're angry about, to be able to see what it feels like the other person has done, and then understand why what they've done makes you feel upset. What's the hurt? What's the sadness? And if you can't get to that, I would recommend that you move the anger through physically. So put on your best angry song, like and just dance and bash a pillow or stamp your feet. This is a really, really powerful way of moving the emotion through your body, because the emotions are stored in our body and they move when you put the attention on them, and then movement helps them to move in your body. So you can do that. And then you will get to the point where you hear the voice of, I'm so angry because, and once you've got to the because thing, then you're getting the insights into what's really subconsciously under this anger. And then when you've got the sadness, then you can be with the sadness. And this is where your heart's important. All of this is about your feeling, because when we're working with energy, when we're working at the energetics, which is at the bottom of how we operate, it's all about the sensation. And your heart is like the magic. It's the magic healer. It's because your heart is where you have the vibration of love. So when you feel your hurt and you put that together, it's almost like your higher self comes along with this energy of love, which you connect to in your heart, and you bring that together with the feeling of sadness. That's what allows the magic and the alchemy to happen. So just inviting you now, feel your anger, feel your sadness, wherever that is in your body, and then also feel the love in your heart, and just bring the two sensations together and just allow them to be there for a moment. Okay, really good. The last step in this, when you've done that for a while, is to move into joy and pleasure in your body. So I'm not going to do it now because this is just a class, it's not an actual workshop, is to actually put on a piece of music and dance in a sensual way, because there's something really, really powerful and magical happens when you move your body in a sensual, enjoying, pleasurable way. When I first, I learned, oh, my camera's going funny. I learned about this when I did feminine embodiment work and sacred sexuality work. I could not believe the power that you get energetically when you tap into that sensual energy that you have. So I would really recommend doing that when you are going through this process yourself. I am intending on creating a workshop where we can actually workshop this to move the energies through. If you are interested in joining that, let me know. So that is how that's basically the process. It's a very powerful process of shifting your energy field so that you break those bonds of fear and worrying about what somebody else thinks, and you come back into your own power. The thing is, the next stage of this is you actually have to do something different as a result of this. That process gives you the power to do it differently, but you then have to do something different. And that's usually saying no or drawing a boundary. In the situation in the example that I've given of dealing with this divorce issue, the thing to do different is, rather than respond to that letter with anger and expletives, I can now come back into my own center and respond powerfully. I can actually say, oh, actually, the things you are saying, I just aren't true. So I just express that very clearly and calmly and objectively in a way that's very powerful. And that's what I have done. It's very satisfying, and it's also very powerful. I can see that. But that, to respond in that powerful, calm way, just simply wasn't available to me first when I first experienced that anger. So you can sense it immediately, if you know, with this process, how that it creates more power for you immediately, and to be able to express your truth in a calm and clear way, and to be able to see the truth, even it allows you to do that. So in terms of what you're thinking, is there a new truth you can see now? Is there a new action you can take? Is there a new boundary that you need to draw, or a way that you can say no, or decide that you're not going to put up with a certain behavior that you have been putting up with, just from a very calm, centered place, rather than from a reactive, angry place? So that's where we are. Then the next thing is, you may be tested by life about whether you're willing to hold this energy or not. Because if you're drawing a boundary with someone for the first time, say, for example, this person always asks you to do something for them because they can't manage it. Say that they're always asking for you to come pick them up from somewhere, say, or for you to always help them with a bit of extra money, but you don't really want to do that, but you feel bad for them, so that you do it anyway. When you feel bad for doing something and you're doing it out as a sense of guilt, that's always a sign that you're hooked into the matrix. It's not that you can't ever do anything nice for people, but if you want to do something nice for a person, and it comes from that sovereign energy of just love, of everything that's being in somebody's highest good, you've let go of these hooked in energy connections, and I'm doing that, so otherwise I'm not a bad person type energy. It always feels it would be a pleasure to do that thing for that person. It always feels like that. So it's not that you can't do the nice things for people, it's just that there will be a different energy around it. If you find that you're doing it out of guilt or resentment, you can pretty much guarantee you've got these hooks of fear, suppression energy going on. So when you draw your boundaries, when you say, no, I'm not doing that anymore, or I'm going to do this differently, or you take a stand, there's often you're going to get resistance or comeback from the person, or you might not do, but you can. And that's really a test by life, from the universe, to say, are you really staying in your sovereign energy, or are you going to back down? Are you going to say, oh, actually, no, I'm worried about losing this relationship. I'm worried what's going to happen. I do need this person. I don't want to feel like a bad person, so I'm going to back down. And if you do that, like, it's not wrong and it's not bad, because you've already got new awareness, and sometimes it can be really hard, but it does take you back into it disempowers you, and it might be the next time that there's more possibility and power for you to be able to go, absolutely, to stay in your own power and say no in the face of the criticism or the judgment for not doing what you normally do, what they're asking you to do, or putting up with a behavior that you've put up with, and you're saying no more to that. So that sounds like it could be tricky, depending on the relationship that you have. It could be hard. You've got to be willing for that person to turn around and say, I'm leaving. without being scared. And the truth is, if that is a relationship that really is important for you to have, the person, or that you should have, or that it should be there and isn't meant to fall away as you rise in consciousness and you rise in your own power, then that relationship will come back and will stay, even if for a while it's bumpy and tricky. I mean, I certainly know when I've set new boundaries with close family, there has been a period where it's been rocky, and there was a worry that it wasn't going to come good, but then it's come back again. Then we've come back together again in an entirely different way, in that way where we're walking alongside each other, and we've broken out of that old childhood dynamic of judging and criticizing each other, and therefore having this energy which holds your power down and your ability to express yourself and be yourself back. It can often be a dynamic like that person needs you to validate them in order for them to feel happy, and if you refuse to validate them, they could get very angry. So that's quite a common one between siblings. And so it's these things, these are where we all have hooks into each other that keep us in this matrix, in this web of disempowerment. So there we go. That was in essence what I wanted to convey. I'll just recap on that. So, to go back over like the nuts and bolts of what I've said. My hope is that you can see in your own life where you're most hooked in right now. And this is going to provide a basis for you, or a possibility, just some awareness for you of how you can break out of these dynamics that you're keeping you stuck, and have a map for doing it. If you want more help with this and a guide through the process, I would be so happy to talk to you about how I can help you with that. And I am intending, as I said, on creating a workshop to go through this process of shifting emotion switching through swamping, through dancing. Swamping, that means that's that process of you allowing you to express your anger, then going to your sadness, and then going into a sensual enjoyment place, that those 3 stages, and so you can experience just how powerful it is. Let me know if you are interested in joining me for that. So yeah, as I said, the recap of what I'm saying, really, of everything that's been here, is that the real answer to get yourself free of the playing small dynamic is to unhook from the dynamics in your relationships where you're scared of other people's criticism and then you're needing their approval. And the way you do that is turning towards noticing where your triggers are, the conflicts, the upsets, and instead of burying them, going, oh, it's all fine, you actually turn towards, you create the space for yourself where you're in a safe space to be able to feel the anger without reacting, without taking it out and projecting it on the other person. You take time to let that anger move through your own body by stomping, bashing pillows, whatever it is that's going to move that anger energy out of you in connection with how it feels in your body. And you're going to allow yourself to let that anger show you what's sitting underneath the anger, what sadness, what wound, what meaning that you've been making. And instead of making that wrong or pushing it down, you actually simply allow that feeling to connect with the heart energy inside of your body. Once you have done that and you're able to see and heal that feeling of hurt, you will be in a more powerful energy, and you will be able to see what boundary you need to set, where you need to say no, where you need to say, I no longer tolerate this, from which you can now do in a calm and centered energy. And if you get pushback, then it's a case of staying in that centered energy. If you can't do that, repeat the process, i.e., when the criticism comes, feel the trigger, let yourself be angry, understand what's underneath the trigger, give yourself time to connect to that feeling, to your heart and to love, so it can move through, and then stay with your boundary. So that's the blueprint for you for reclaiming your sovereign energy. I hope you found that useful. I'd love to know what you've got from that, if it's been useful, and if you would like any further help with it. Okay, well, thank you very much for listening, and let's see what happens next. Goodbye.